High in the mist-covered mountains of Dangrek lived a man named Ridan, a skilled hunter known throughout the villages below. From the time he was a child, the forest had been his teacher, his friend, and his home. He lived by a simple code: hunt only what you need, and always thank the spirits of the mountain for every life taken. But deep inside, Ridan carried a quiet sorrow. He hunted not out of desire, but out of necessity. His family was poor, his mother frail, and the mountains were the only place he knew how to provide. One morning, as the first golden beam of sunlight touched the peaks, Ridan set out for what he believed would be just another hunt. The air was crisp and cold, birds sang their morning melodies, and the sweet scent of wild orchids drifted on the wind. For a fleeting moment, he felt a deep sense of peace, the kind of tranquility that only the ancient mountains could offer. But as he ventured deeper into the forest, a strange tension filled the air. The animals behaved unusually. Birds flew low and erratically, monkeys hid in the high branches, their usual chatter replaced by an eerie silence. Even the breeze seemed to hold its breath as if afraid to move. Ridan's instincts screamed that something was wrong, but his family's needs pushed him onward. Suddenly, he saw a flicker of movement, a magnificent mountain stag, limping through the dense trees. Its beautiful coat was matted with blood, its leg caught cruelly in a hunter's trap. Every instinct told Ridan to raise his bow. This was the provision he sought. He drew the string, took aim, and then he paused. The stag looked at him, not with the wild panic he expected, but with eyes full of agonizing pain, fear, and something that shook him to his core: trust. In that heart-stopping moment, the hunter vanished, and the man took over. Ridan lowered his bow. Instead of delivering the final shot, he approached the wounded animal slowly, whispering gentle, calming words. The stag trembled, its powerful body tense, but it did not run. With steady, practiced hands, Ridan carefully cut the sharp metal trap from its leg. He then gathered specific leaves and herbs from the forest floor, remedies he'd known since childhood, and gently wrapped the stag's wound. As he worked, a feeling he'd never known before stirred in his heart. It wasn't the grim satisfaction of a successful hunt, but a strange, quiet joy. A warmth that spread through him, chasing away the cold sorrow he always carried. When he finished, the stag limped closer and softly touched its nose to his hand, a silent gesture of gratitude. For the first time in months, a genuine smile touched Ridan's lips, but his newfound peace was shattered in an instant. A gunshot cracked through the forest, its echo bouncing off the mountainsides. Another hunter, an illegal poacher, greedy and desperate, had spotted the same stag and fired without a second thought. The bullet missed, but the deafening explosion sent birds screaming into the sky. Without thinking, Ridan threw himself in front of the stag, shielding it with his own body. He shouted into the trees, "Stop! This forest is not yours to destroy." The poacher emerged from the shadows, his face twisted with anger. "That animal is worth a month's pay," he snarled. "Move aside." Ridan stood his ground, his heart pounding. The man raised his gun again. In that terrifying moment, fear stabbed through Ridan's chest. He thought of his mother, waiting for him at home. He thought of the simple, quiet evenings he cherished. And he thought of the fragile, interconnected lives of the forest, which depended on people like him to protect them, not to destroy them. The poacher fired. Ridan leaped behind a massive tree just as the shot tore through the bark, inches from his head. The stag cried out in terror. Fueled by adrenaline, Ridan ran, weaving through the trees. He grabbed a heavy, broken branch and, with a powerful swing, knocked the gun from the poacher's hand. The two men struggled fiercely on the forest floor, a chaotic whirlwind of rolling through leaves and dust. Finally, with a surge of strength, Ridan pinned him down. "Leave these mountains," he whispered, his voice shaking with a mix of fear and fury, "or they will swallow you whole." The man, trembling and defeated, scrambled to his feet and ran, disappearing into the woods without looking back. When silence finally returned, heavy and profound, Ridan searched for the stag. He found it standing by a stream, its wound cleaned by the cool water, staring at him with calm, gentle eyes. A sad smile touched Ridan's face. "You're free now," he said softly. The stag lowered its head one last time, a final acknowledgement, then vanished into the golden light of the forest. Ridan sat by the river, completely exhausted. He felt a storm of emotions: sadness for the violence that had invaded his sanctuary, relief that he was alive, joy that the stag had survived, and a deep, overwhelming fear of how close he had come to losing everything he loved. For the first time in his life, he felt the mountains breathing with him, a living, ancient presence. It felt as if they had finally accepted him, not as a hunter who took, but as a protector who gave. That evening he returned home empty-handed. His mother looked at him, her eyes full of concern. "Did you catch anything today, my son?" she asked. Redan smiled gently, a new light in his eyes. "No, mother," he replied, "but today I saved something worth far more." From that day forward, Redan was no longer known merely as a hunter. He became the guardian of the mountain forest, the man who listened to the silent cries of the wild and, when faced with a choice, chose compassion over survival. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more tales that explore the deep connection between humanity and nature.